On this episode of the Turnbuckle, Omos challenges Brock Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania, Conan has an idea for CM Punk's AEW return, and Ariel Helwani says he's not a wrestling journalist. Folks, we're reading your favorite wrestling movie to some wrestling news because it's time for the Turnbuckle. Omos has challenged Brock Lesnar to a match for WrestleMania. On Monday's Raw, MVP called Brock Lesnar a coward for getting himself DQ'd at Elimination Chamber, saying he knew that he couldn't escape Bobby Lashley's Hurt Lock. MVP said that Omos was issuing a challenge to face Lesnar at WrestleMania and invited Lesnar to show up on next week's Raw in Grand Rapids, Michigan to accept. So this is a very interesting, listen, alright, I don't know about you, but when this was, so MVP comes out and he starts talking, and for how long, for a decent amount of time, I was like, oh, Bobby's gonna come out. Okay, so Bobby did come out, but it was like for his own reasons, which I really like. And MVP was like, all right, Omos challenges you to a match, which I was caught off guard by. I was actually very presently, but I was, because I was there. I hope they don't give away the F5 too early. That's my biggest worry. I want the F5 to be the bow on this entire thing. I want the whole thing to be like, oh, which is going to be obvious, but it is, I mean, Omos is pretty big, and he also has like a lot of stable ground, so I feel like the F5 would be A, to do because he big heavy, and 2, because he got lot of legs. What am I talking about? Next, we're going to talk about Conan and how he has an idea for CM Punk's AEW return. While going through questions from their listener mailbag, one asked who should be blamed for AEW's most recent ratings woes, promoting MJF as the primary reason. Punk's name then once again came up, with the viewership drop being pinned on him due to fans who turned in to see him likely having stopped watching in his absence. Conan then decided to fantasy book Punk's return to AEW if that was to ever happen, wondering what thrust him back into the picture as a major player. If he came back, MJF's a heel, but if he came back and got that championship by cheating, he pondered, and just went into full heel mode, I think, he could be somebody again. Punk has been away from AEW since the infamous fallout after All Out last year. Following his notable media scrum and the resulting confrontation, Punk was stripped of his newly won AEW World Championship and hasn't been seen near the company since. He did suffer a torn left tricep in his match with Jon Moxley at All Out and has been rehabbing it in recent months. However, whether that recovery has been done in part to come back to AEW is anyone's guess. Tony Khan has remained mum on CM Punk's status. Please don't start throwing tomatoes at me for talking about CM Punk. Don't boo, please. Why are you booing me? Okay, listen, alright. I think CM Punk is actually going to come back. I'm tired of hiding, alright? I think CM Punk is going to make his return because it's been way too long now. I mean, if you're Tony, you would have cut the contract off by now. You would have been like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this guy. Or unless Tony is waiting for him to heal. That's the only excuse I can think of as to why CM Punk is still there. And I feel like I mentioned it before, but if I haven't, that's got to be the reason why we haven't really heard anything and why CM Punk's contract has just been in limbo so far. But I think another reason could potentially just be Tony Khan is waiting for all of this to sort of blow over, which I feel like by now it's kind of like we're kind of just feeling the residual effects of it. I feel like we've kind of moved on from that stage. We've got MJF, and then we had the whole William Regal situation. I feel like enough has happened. Enough time has passed. So where if he were to come back now, I feel like it wouldn't be as impactful as the first time that he came back, but I think it would still be pretty impactful. So, I mean, I don't necessarily know when he's actually going to come back, though. That's even if Tony Khan actually decides to put the guy back in the ring. But let's see if we hear anything about the tricep first, and then there's a potential chance that the contract will follow soon after. Finally, we're going to talk about Ariel Helwani saying he's not a wrestling journalist, and he explains his WWE involvement. Ariel Helwani joined WWE in Montreal, Quebec, Canada this past weekend, appearing on Smackdown and during the Elimination Chamber event, setting off AEW President Tony Khan and leading to a war of words between the two over social media. The issues between Helwani and Khan date back to an interview in October when Khan was non-committal to several questions asked by Helwani. On his show, The MMA Hour, Helwani said when he saw the first tweet by Khan, it was hard to believe it was actually from him. Helwani wondered why Khan would tweet during a WWE show because in doing so, he was putting over his competition on a big weekend for WWE. Helwani also revealed the news caught fire backstage within the WWE locker room when it happened, with people asking him if he saw what Khan had said. Helwani labeled the situation as, quote, bizarre, stating that multiple people he didn't even know had approached him to see his reaction. The tweet spread backstage, and it even got in front of WWE commentator Michael Cole, who referenced the beef between the two during the Elimination Chamber broadcast. Cole referred to Helwani as a, quote, unbiased, world-renowned sports journalist while he was shown in the crowd with UFC legend George St. Pierre. Michael Cole, freaking legend that he is, sees me before the show and goes, just wait till you see how I introduce you. I think he's going to say combat sports, a reporter, this and that, whatever. Thanks, man. Do the hit. I'm trying to put over GSP. This all feels like an out-of-body experience. And then go to the back and my phone explodes because of what Michael Cole said. Helwani said his experience in Montreal made him feel like he's, quote, a part of the team, making it clear to anyone who feels disappointed that if they didn't like what happened, he doesn't care. So, I was watching that, and I wasn't necessarily paying attention to the commentary. Okay, I know that he was in Smackdown and he was there, and I was like, what is he doing there? I think he's Canadian. I think he's from Canada. Yeah, you could pretty much just slap a lid. Just Tony Khan, you're being a big doofus right now. It's not really that big of a deal. I just like the Tony Khan. I don't want to do the Tony Khan voice. The one that DPW does, I don't want to do the voice. It's too loud. It's too annoying. But it is funny, and it is very fitting for this. Just being like, you're... That's where you're a fraud. You're a fraud, Helwani. You don't even like WWE. What are you talking about? The eyes. You know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. I'm never going to stop talking about that, man. It's like, Adam plays with it. Get me out of here. I'm never going to stop doing that bit. Man, that is funny, man. Ariel, what are you doing over there? Get that, yeah. Put that microphone down right now. What are you doing? Oh my God. I'm going to tweet him. Don't tweet him, Tony. It's not that big of a deal. No, get your hands off of me. Leave me alone. Right. He's in the broom closet. Oh, Tony, you're funny, man. Tony's funny, man. I love him. I love Tony. I love AEW. I love Ariel. It's not that big of a deal. Ariel's if I'm Ariel, I'd do it again. Okay, geez Louise. So I'm curious to see how this is it's probably not going to transpire to anything, but it was just nice to hear about it. What do we talk about? So Omos is challenging Brock Lesnar. I want to see that match. I hope that match actually does happen. 9 times out of 10, it's more than likely going to happen. I want to see it all, man. I want to see the promos. I want to see Omos be like, small man, I'm going to throw you. And Brock Lesnar's like, no, and he just lifts him up, but I don't want him to lift him up yet, because that's going to be, you're giving it away too early. So we're just going to have to see how that goes. I think CM Punk is coming back. If CM Punk is going to come back, I think the best thing to do would be to turn him heel. Conan's got a point, instead of having him come back and be like, hey, everybody, because there's going to be people in the crowd who are going to be like, no, boo, hiss, get out of here, so I think your best bet is to turn him heel, so that way it kind of cushions the boos, You can kind of like transfer some of that heat, like actual heat, into like heel heat, and like sort of keep that going, Hopefully MJF isn't like floating around, because I don't know how you're going to have like 2 gigantic heat magnets like that, polarizing the division. But listen, if that's what they decide to do, then more power to them. Ariel says he's not a journalist. This is great. And there's like nothing, they didn't say anything horrible, and they didn't like throw anything at no one threw a shoe, again, Tony Khan has nothing to be upset about. I don't understand why this set him off. I don't understand where the anger came from. You can report on WWE, it's fine. If he's still bitter about the whole thing about, this is my worst, my worst interview and all that, like, Tony, let it go, man, move on. It's your fault for not saying anything anyway, unless it was the legal thing. If it was the legal thing, he should have said something about that. But again, man, listen, I'm not Tony, I'm not Ariel, right? But again, I like hearing about this, and we need Ariel and Tony at Double or Nothing or Full Gear or something, or WrestleMania somewhere. We need these two in the ring. That'll be fantastic. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode, and hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs all around.